So yesterday, once we had the full schedule of opponents, where they were playing, when they were playing them, home, road, in Europe or not, we went through the schedule and we gave you our wins and losses. I had them at 11-6. EB had them at 12-5, and Cakes had the Commanders finishing 13-4.
I did.
I don't know that any of us took this into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL schedule makers gave Washington 4 games against teams coming off their bye weeks, which is the most of any team in the NFL this season. In fact, facing 4 teams that are coming off a bye, they're going to face the Bears in Week 6, the Seahawks in Week 9, Broncos in Week 13, and Giants in Week 15, all coming off their bye weeks. Only 10 teams since 2002 have had to play that many opponents coming off a bye. Any concern that all of these teams are having 2 weeks to prepare?
What do teams historically do after a bye week? We assume that they do better, but is there any validity to that? You want me to ask?
I know certain coaches have a reputation for always thriving after a bye week, but I don't know about overall.
That Jaden is schedule proof.
You said it.
Why? Yeah, I said it. Why would I worry about a team with a little bit of extra rest? Not concerned. Not concerned one iota.
All right,
I made my picks, and I said I was considering giving them 14 or 15 wins. 13 was me kind of tapping on the brakes.
Let me ask Grok.
You're going to ask Grok?
Yeah, not Gronk.
Right. I don't know who'd give you a better answer. I might trust Gronk. Personally.
Let's see. How do NFL teams? So when I did the Google AI, it gave a very generic answer. It said that data suggests a slight edge from 2002 to 2023. Teams coming off a bye week have a win rate of about 52 to 54% against the spread.
To me, it's much more
52 to 54.
It's much more about the talent and the way the team is playing that you're facing.
How many of them are home, JP? Or for them, home teams post-bye perform better. Back in 2009, they suggested, now that's an old stat, right? That's 15 years ago. A 780 winning percentage if you came back and you played at home after a bye week, compared to 300% winning percentage on the road.
So the Bears game is home for the Commanders,
right?
Right?
So that's good. So they'll likely be not as good on the road.
Seahawks game. Are they going to Seattle?
No, that's a home game.
So that's another home game.
All right. So that's...
You can pull up a schedule over there.
I had to punch up 2 articles at once. You got the Broncos in Week 13. The Broncos are coming off a bye.
That's here too.
And then the Giants in Week 15.
Yeah, it's the Broncos, the Giants. Who are the other teams?
Seahawks.
The Bears.
Seahawks and Bears.
The Commanders are more talented and better than all 4 of those teams.
Last year,
I don't care about how much rest they have.
Chiefs after a bye. Andy Reid is 19-3 after a bye.
Yeah, to give you updated, at least more recent data, EB. Last year, teams coming off their byes, losing record.
Right. So it's a mixed bag.
I care much more about how your opponent is playing, what key injuries they've suffered at that point of the NFL season. To me, that's much more important than them getting some extra rest on a bye week. And the Commanders are better than all the teams you just mentioned that they're going to face coming off the bye. Better than the Bears, better than the Broncos, better than the Seahawks, and I can't remember the 4th team. I'll just blindly say Commanders are better.
Didn't you also say that, I think Neil pointed this out yesterday, Neil Greenberg, our buddy with the Post, that Washington is favored in 12 of their...
12 games.
Right.
Correct.
Perfect. So that matches up perfectly with my 12 wins.
That tracks very closely to my 13-win prediction.
All right, so not sweating the bye week thing. Switching topics.
On the other side, you mentioned the Commanders being favored in 12 games. The Browns are favored in 1 game. All season. The entire season.
They're going to be better than 1 in 16.
But not much better.
Maybe.
From the looks of it.
Yeah.
Switching topics, I happened to see just a couple minutes on TV yesterday, the NBA Draft Combine.
Okay.
It does not get nearly the press that the NFL
Gets very
Combine
little
gets. There was some news about Cooper Flagg, who his vertical was 36 inches, I
I think it
believe.
was 35 and a half.
Okay. Rounded up to 36.
He's a big dude. I think that's decent.
Yeah.
Not silly.
Apparently he had a
decent.
good, I don't even know what they call it. Like it's like the lane run. It's not a shuttle run, but they kind of go around the lane and then they got to go back. And people were impressed by him. One person that has not had an impressive showing is Derek Queen. This from SI.com. The NBA Draft Combine confirmed the eye test about Queen's athleticism. While it was already known that Queen was a less than average athlete, his testing numbers finished even worse than expected. Queen finished with the reported 12.45 lane agility drill. Maybe that's the one that I saw Flagg thriving on, giving him the third lowest score in the previous 5 years of the NBA Draft Combine. His 28-inch reported maximum vertical would have finished tied with Peyton Sandfort as the second lowest total last year.
What else?
Well,
That's it. That's it.
You know who else probably wouldn't have tested very well at that combine? Joker. You think Joker has a massive vertical leap?
No,
Right.
but he's a lot taller.
Okay, but nobody's ever accused Derek Queen of being an exceptional athlete.
No,
He's
Joker's
just a highly skilled. By the way, he's 6'10". He's massive. He's pretty big, and he's got good handle. He's got pretty good touch on his shot. He can run the floor.
He's not going to out-athlete you.
No,
Yeah,
that's not his game.
Nobody's ever accused him of that.
He's a smart player. I just don't know if he'll be able to hang in the league like the way that they play now. Because in the past, I'm thinking of a power forward who was excellent, who was kind of chubby, but he was excellent. Was Zach Randolph,
Right.
All right, but I don't know that Zach Randolph would thrive in today's NBA because you're going to get matched up against guys like if you watch the Timberwolves right now. The Timberwolves are going to be in the Western Conference Finals for the second year in a row. This guy doesn't get a lot of hype, but they have a guy named Jaden McDaniels. He's 6'10". He's fast.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know that Queen will match up great against guys like
Here's
that.
how Queen is going to, if he sticks for a decade or longer, he has to develop a reliable 3-point shot.
I think he shot 20% from threes.
He didn't really
last
do
year.
that at Maryland.
That's another part
he
of the
wasn't
equation.
Asked to do that a lot, but if he wants to have a long, fruitful NBA career, he should be in the gym shooting 500 threes a day, if not more. He's got to hone that. He's got to add that to his skill set.
Is he a little older for his age, or is he right on track?
Well, Cooper Flagg is really young because he skipped a year, I believe.
Yeah, because he wanted to graduate early so that he could get to Duke as soon as possible, right? What
Derek
about
Queen
Derek
is,
Queen?
he was born December 27th, 2004.
So he's 20.
He's 20 years old.
That's probably about appropriate, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you think he'll be better than, I got to believe he's going to be better than Jalen Smith, Sticks, who had maybe more of like the NBA body and NBA measurables, but he hasn't done anything really in the NBA, has he?
Doesn't seem like it. The guy that's had the most impact, correct me if I'm wrong, is Herter,
Yes.
right? Of
Herter
recent note.
and Wiggins has had a big impact in the league, too.
Jalen's-
Signed a nice deal.
Jalen Smith has averaged 8 points per game in the league.
But like Diamond Stone flamed out.
Oh, no. It's a
Who
horrible
was the other
decision
big
for him to leave
guy
early.
that came out?
Alex Len.
Well, Alex Len's lasted a long time. No, God, he was a big Bruno Fernando or whatever. Wasn't that his name?
Yeah, he's been in the league for a long time.
He's been in the league, but he hasn't done anything.
No, he's a journeyman. But,
Yeah.
but he'll have a decade-long NBA career.
Yeah, I mean, if you have that, then it's fine.
Yeah, I would hope, based on what we saw in college, that Derek Queen would have a better career than Jalen Smith. But Jalen Smith's guys averaged 8.5 points per game in his career. He was right on his average this year with Chicago, which is his third
How many
team.
minutes was he getting, though?
15 minutes a game.
Yeah, I mean, how many games did he play in?
64.
Not bad. Not bad. He's carving out a career.
He's a classic, like, 9th or 10th man on a
Yeah,
team.
he's carving out a career.
And maybe that's
gonna
what
hate
Derek
on him.
Queen will ultimately be. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that people were saying that his stock was rising in the NBA
All
draft.
I would say is I think they were already having scrimmages, right? Because I saw there was like this lefty guard that kind of came out of nowhere that there was a reel about who like really impressed on his first day at the combine. How's he doing in the scrimmages? That's going to be more important for a guy like Derek Queen than his measurables.
Haven't seen. But
how's he doing in those?
Jalen Smith is making $9 million a year to be kind of a middling NBA.
It's the average salary. Derek Queen right now on NBADraft.net projected to go 11th to Portland.
Who would draft T-shirt can get a Derek Queen jersey?
Who would you rather have? Drab, you weren't here when we had House on yesterday, but House is obsessed with the big kid Malawich or Malawich, however you say his name, from Duke. Him or Derek Queen?
Well, he was terrible in the Duke loss in March Madness, and I think he had 1 rebound in that game.
He's projected 23rd on NBADraft.net.
Yeah, I think his.
But can you imagine a defense with him and Sarr? You're just out on it. You're not.
No,
high
I need more time on him, but right now I'm down on him because of how bad he was in that loss.
How's Jeremiah Fears? That's who they have projected going to the Wizards at 6. 6'4", 190 pounds.
Jason would have a
from
file on
Oklahoma.
I don't have a good file on him, so you're asking the wrong guy.
I was asking Drab. He's more of a college hoops guy.
I don't know a lot about him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know there were a lot of people that when the Wizards blew it in the lottery they're like, let's get Derek Queen.
Right.
But I don't know if I want a guy that...
I think the 6th pick is a little rich for Derek.
I'm in. I'm all in. All in.
Doesn't worry you that his measurables stink?
That's subterfuge for people hoping that he drops.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. I look at like OKC's on like he's gonna have to face guys. I project him as a power forward, not a small forward. At power forward, you face guys like Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He might need some defensive help from time to time.
Here's this is from
I think offensive help, getting your shot off against
this is
quicker,
from Kevin
taller, long
O'Connor,
guys.
who covers the NBA for Yahoo Sports on Derek Queen. Queen is a burly, we know who he is, but just a burly big with guard-like handles who dazzles with spin moves and crafty finishes like his game-winning leaning jumper to send Maryland to the Sweet 16. Comparisons,
which he didn't walk on.
DeMarcus Cousins, Zach Randolph. Strengths.
Above Zebo.
Rim finishing, ball handling, post game, playmaking, shooting potential, rebounding, defensive switchability. Concerns: theoretical jumper.
Yes, foot speed, quickness,
limited athleticism.
Yeah, okay, we knew that going in. That's not news to anybody.
He's kind of a tween. At 6'9.5", he is kind of a tweener.
Yeah,
and then conditioning, which I think if you just look at the guy,
I think that's fair.
Yeah, sure. I think that's fair, right?
Well, he was playing a lot of minutes. I mean, the Crab Five were playing a lot of minutes.
They were. They're logging a lot of time.
I love my Crab Five.
You know what?
T-shirt.
You know what those guys were doing? They were all earning their NIL money. They weren't coasting on that NIL money.
But if he comes in at a legit 6'10",
he came in at 6'9.5" barefoot.
Okay,
so that's legit.
I round up.
Round up. Well, with shoes, that's 6'10".
Albert Sengun, who's on the Rockets, is an all-star. I think maybe they've called him Baby Joker. Did they ever call Queen Baby Joker?
I don't know.
They did make comps to Joker.
Yeah, I mean, I
Queen.
think that's fair. He definitely is very crafty and has it. It'll be interesting to see how he does on the next
Snake
level.
Willard that got up in front of the press and said if Derek Queen was a whitey from Europe, he'd be the top pick.
Yes.
He said that. I kind of discount everything Kevin Willard says now because I hate that dude's guts. But he said that before the tournament, I believe.
When you think of his stroke, it doesn't look awful, right?
No.
So
people are a little upset. People are a little upset. It has kind of a little hitch at the top, a little pause. But in the tournament, he was making threes.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the season, he was shooting very well.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was
made the buzzer beater. It looked pretty good. Stroke looked good there.
I don't think Will Dawkins is going to take him, though. I think Jason might be more right to find some guy in France before he takes Derek Queen.
Right. He does love French dudes.
All right, remember, we got Metallica tickets to give away. Stay tuned for your chance to win those coming up shortly here on The Fan.